What's up, sister? It's your girl Danielle, and welcome back to the Pretty Powerful Podcast.
I think the biggest thing is it's one day at a time. It literally is. It sounds so cheesy, but it's one day at a time. If you didn't complete it today, you got tomorrow. It's just today. We're just do today. That's it.
Hello, welcome back to the Pretty Powerful Podcast. I am so pumped, and I feel like I say the same thing every time I jump on here, but I'm just so freaking excited to introduce you to none other than, do you call me Jessica or Jess?
I say Jessica. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, it's cool. I always I don't know, is it social media where it's Jess?
Oh, you know what? My podcast is Stress Less with Jess. So, but that's just rhyming purposes. It's a little flow.
Okay. I feel it, but that is where it stuck with me was Jess. So when I saw all these things come in, it says Jessica. I'm like, shoot, does she go by Jessica? My bad. Okay, so we got Jessica Harrington in the house. Holla. And you are going to freaking fall in love with her like I did, what year are we in? 2023? I met you on social media.
We did.
And I feel like I've known you forever, and
I know.
it's really weird. But anyways, so you guys are going to love her just like I did. And I'm going to let her share all of the awesomeness with you today because you're going to pick up so many nuggets. But Jessica has her degree, a master's degree in public health. She's a speaker and stress management health educator. And in her own words, she says that everyone at some point or another struggles with handling stress. Yes, girl. And through her own life journey, Jessica has created Journey to Yourself. So she's here to share all the good stuff about how self-love can reduce stress. I feel like I could just take a deep breath after that. It's like, okay, reduce my stress, Jessica, reduce it. Anyways, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be on it. Can we do a quick plug of how you were on my podcast in the very beginning of when I started and you were starting and you were just in a room and I was just going, I have a microphone. Can you just do this with me? And so just kind of picturing where we were and where we are. I'm just saying, just saying growth.
Just saying. I love that. Yes. And it was so fun with you. So as soon as I was starting this podcast, I was like, Jessica has to be on my podcast because talking to her was so fun. So here we are. So my friend, okay. Was it like when you were 8 or 9 years old, you're like, I want to be a stress management, health wellness person and change the world? How, if not, you're shaking your head at me. So if not, how did you get here?
Yeah, of course. So my nutshell story is I started my career in the drug and alcohol field. So I was working with men reducing their sentence from jail coming into their rehab. And so I did that for a couple of years, absolutely loved it. So my first degree was social work, focusing on addiction. And so I loved every moment of it, but I wanted to be on the prevention side of things. So went back to school, got a master's in public health. And that's actually where I learned about starting your own business and, start entrepreneurship and everything. And so that's where the light bulbs went off. And so when I graduated, I said, okay, having a master's was not enough debt. Let's start your own business. And so that's what I do.
Oh, the best quote. I mean, we could just stop here. That was I feel like everyone who has a degree right now can just bust out laughing because that is so real. So you started the business. So tell us more about what you do, some of your experiences, all the things.
Yeah, of course. So there's a couple of pieces to my business since it's been growing. As we're recording today, it's 3 years. So that's super exciting. And so what I do, so the first piece is my one-on-one client work where I meet with you on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And because I have the background, we can do the inner child work for sure. But my main piece is really creating the action steps today. So you come to me, you're like, hey, I feel like, me and my daughter fight a lot, or I don't know how to make time for me, or I can't find passion, or I fell in love with your journal prompts, but how do I make this myself? So my mindset is helping you create those action steps today and build up on them. Then I do the speaking, and then I do some corporate, team building around just stress and burnout.
I love that. So what would you say, give us some of your, you said how self-love can reduce stress. So that sounds cute and cool, but how does that work? How you mentioned like the actions, like the habits that they can create. So what does some of that actually look like in obviously general form, because we're not working one-on-one, but like, what does that look like?
Yeah, of course. So my quote that you're referring to is self-love over stress, right? And so that's my biggest thing is taking care of yourself instead of letting the stress come over. So much easier said than done, like you're saying. That's a really cute quote. Cool. I'll do that. Right. Yeah. Just like the water bottles that say drink more water. Yeah, of course. I'm getting the bottle because it's cute, but we'll figure out how to do it later on, right?
Yeah.
So my mindset with it is very much of, if I start to take care of me, if I start to show myself love, if I start to, learn what I need and want, then I'm able to set boundaries. Then I'm able to tell other people what I need and want. And when I do that, a lot of the BS starts to go away. Yeah. And when I say that, I'm not saying there's a stress-free button or I would hand it out to everybody because you get one, you get one, you get one. It's not a thing. But what my job is to teach you how to re-love yourself. And what I mean by that, it's not, as a stress coach, right? Stress person, I bump my head. GPS says go left, yeah, I go right. Like look, everything in between. It's in those moments of, what am I doing? Oh, Jess, you're so stupid. Oh my God, you're an idiot. You're not loved. This is why no one cares about you. It's that rabbit hole that I work on with people. And so it's, well, how do I do that? And so it's those habits that you're doing every day. So if you love cheesy, cute quotes, my other one that I tell people is drink the coffee while it's hot. Meaning that that's 1 to 2 minutes with myself every day.
Oh,
right.
I love that.
Right? You can build on it, and that's a whole different topic we can get into. But my goal is to create a foundation because life happens. And I know you've done this before, like especially when it comes to working out and stuff like that, right? It's, all right, I'm going to do this every single day. And a week go by, 2 weeks go by. Yeah, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, right. My job is to create that foundation. So when that moment comes, what is that thing I can go back to?
Drink the coffee while it's hot. That's a good one because most people probably don't do that. Everything, like things are pulling us a million, right? You're starting to drink your coffee and then you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to do that. I need to put the laundry and I need to do this. And time goes by and then you're like, well, guess I get to reheat that.
Yeah. Oh, I hate reheated coffee. That's my bouginess. And I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Okay, so we got to talk about bougie coffee then real quick. Like, how do you make your coffee?
Oh, it's just black coffee. I just don't like the reheating. It's probably more of a mental thing, but it's fine. But it also forces me to drink it while it's hot because I hate cold coffee. I don't do iced coffee. Summer, 90 degrees, don't care. It has to be hot coffee. So it's kind of where the saying came from. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I love it. And we're opposite because I will drink a hot coffee, but I'm definitely an iced coffee kind of gal. No matter if it's like, we're in a freaking snow blizzard. I am sitting here drinking my
squish noise that we need.
Yeah. Oh man, so good. So obviously, like you said, everyone struggles at some point with some stress in their life. People get to a certain point to where they're like, okay, I need to really do something about this. I need someone like Jessica to really help me because what I'm doing isn't working, right? So what would you say most of your clients or your experiences like out speaking, things that people could have done or could do before coming to see you to help them in the moment? Or like
sorry. Yeah, no, it makes sense. Okay. No, it does. So the first thing I want to say too is that stress looks different for everybody. I think a lot of times when someone's like, oh, I'm not stressed, they're picturing themselves at this chaotic freak out moment that we see picture where you're pulling your hair out, you're throwing things. That is stress for sure, but that's not what stress looks like for everybody. So I think that's the biggest piece I like to tell people is that you are still experiencing stress. You experience stress on average 50 times a day.
50 times a day?
50. Now, and I'm saying that because there's so many small stressors and that we let to build up. And that's when those explosions happen. That's when isolation happens. That's when anxiety, depression, the chronic illness happens, right? When we start to ignore the little ones. So stress isn't just, oh my God, I'm cursing at everybody every time someone cuts me off on the road. It's a little bit of everything. So just want to paint that picture too. But in the sense of things that you can do and what people really,
I just got to ask, okay? Because so if I'm not at that point where I'm like pulling my hair out, feel like, I'm on the verge of depression, at that level that you're speaking of, I'm at I guess what I'm trying to ask is all like those little stressors you said, then you would probably say, right, that every stress is valid, right? Because I think a lot of people, especially, trauma is the word, that people use a lot. So, and I know this is completely different, but, a lot of people say, well, I don't really have trauma because it's not that extreme trauma. So like but we have trauma, but it's different. So stress is kind of what you're saying is the same way is, yes, there's a higher level of stress, but for everyone experiences stress, and your stress, even if it's, I drop my pen and I all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, why can I not do anything right? That is a valid level of stress, and that fits into your category of stress. And there's ways to help even with that small level of stress. Is that what I'm hearing?
110%. And so can I piggyback off of this?
Yes, please.
So the way I try to picture it for people, so I'm going to give you my little snippet into my lecture, is there's 3 ways you react to stress. So physical, that's your body, right? Headache, migraines. My favorite is the eye twitching, psoriasis, eczema, all the fun things. But what do? I always get headaches. My eye always twitches. My stomach, I always have stomach issues. It's who I am. Then we have the emotional. I'm stupid. I'm lazy. Or he never helps out, whatever the case may be. Then it's behavior. Amazon shopping, scrolling, eating, not eating, right? All these things.
Yeah.
So the way I try to paint the picture is, we were just talking about coffee, so it's perfect. You wake up in the morning, you go get your K-cup, you put it in, you go check the emails, let the dog out, get the kids ready. You go back to the kitchen. Ooh, I smell the coffee. It smells so good. You grab your mug. You reach for the fridge to grab the creamer. No creamer. No creamer. Okay. 6 o'clock in the morning. It's just creamer. Physical reaction. It's like, ugh, that's annoying. Emotional reaction. If I wasn't so lazy, I would have got the creamer last night. If I wasn't so stupid, I remembered the creamer last night. Or it's the blame game. He never listens to me. He's always too busy doing this. Then it's the behavior. Slamming the fridge, throwing the mug in the sink. Kids get in the car. We have to go to Dunkin' Donuts. Now the kids are fighting over what kind of munchkins they want. Now you're sitting in the Dunkin' Donuts line. Now you have to sit in the drop-off line. Now you have to get to your email. And now you finally sit down. You're like, okay, have a cup of coffee. As everything's loading, you see the email from Emily. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even get to that yet. Emily, just calm down. So going back to the average 50 reactions, it's the traffic. It's the kids fighting over munchkins. It's just creamer. It's just the drop-off line. It's just an email from Emily. I just named 5, and we're only at 7:30. We're only at 8 o'clock. And so we have reactions to all of these, but going into that self-love piece, those habit piece, we're not letting our body release from them. We're not letting our body digest these. We're not letting our body, we're just adding more. We're just adding more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I love that because that's so relatable for all of us. And again, it's not just, right? Like, oh, sometimes I think people can get concerned too about throwing around words because we know some people, really struggle with high levels of stress to where then it's like, well, I shouldn't say that I'm stressed because I'm not that level of stress. But then when you talk about the creamer and then this and then that, and it's like, oh my gosh, like you rattling those off. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so stressed. I do need creamer. I do need that, And so it's just, I love you paint such a beautiful, if it can be beautiful, picture of stress that we can relate to. And it reminds me of your journal prompts. I love getting on Instagram and seeing your stories with your journal prompts. They're so good. And even if I don't sit, let me be honest, I don't always sit down and like write them, but it makes me think, right? I'm like, oh, that's a really good question. So with that, I guess I'm kind of going back to a previous question, I think, but then making up a new one. And that's totally cool because we're allowed to do what we want here. So with the coffee, and all of that, you said this is just now 7:30. And how does that set you up for your day? So do you personally have like a morning stress less with Jess habit that you do or that you encourage? I know everyone needs something different, which is why you offer one-on-one coaching, but is there like a blanket thing that you see that works for and helps a lot of people in the mornings?
Yeah, of course. So kind of like you were saying with the one-on-one client, like everyone's different, things like that. So I feel a lot of us want that morning routine. We're told this is how you start your day. It's how you start the day, right? And I love that. And I have my morning routine, and I'll definitely answer that in just 2 seconds. I actually really challenge people to have a night routine.
Ah.
Because this is when we're digesting the day and all those racing thoughts. And now we put everybody to bed. The dogs are out, emails are done. And now we lay in bed and our brain's going, you ain't going to sleep, right? Like next time, maybe tomorrow, right? It's one of those. And so I challenge people to do a night routine because I think that connects with people in a different way, in the sense that we want sleep. And we know if we don't get sleep, we're stressed. And we know if we don't get sleep, we argue. We know we don't get sleep. We know what happens when we don't get sleep. So I challenge people with a night routine. So I'll give you both. And that's why my full ramble of my answer. So I tell people 1 to 2 minutes. And that's where this whole drink the coffee when it's hot comes to you. I don't care if you drink the whole coffee. I don't care if you 2 sips. When I first started my routine X amount of years ago, at this point, that's literally what it was. It was just making a cup of coffee and sitting outside with it. Did I bring a book? Did I bring a journal? 100%. Did I always do that? No. But from the people that were in my life, my grandma, one of my mentors when I worked at the drug and alcohol rehab, this was always their routine. And these were people that have the biggest heart, the hardest workers that are in my life still to this day. And this is how they started their day. 1 cup of coffee. Just them. My grandma, my grandpa brings the coffee to her first cup of coffee in bed. After that, then she's allowed to leave the room because she needs her me time. My mentor, Miss Kathy, she would get up before the whole house and she would just sit with her cup of coffee. She always told me how important that was. And then I just built on that, right? That's my me time. What do I need today, right? I get to have all these kind of conversations with myself and I get to actually process those without interruptions. The nighttime routine, the biggest thing I tell people with this one is, yeah, you could do no electronics, all that kind of stuff. That's all easier said than done. So that's why I don't do that one. Again, we just do baby steps. We create habits, we create foundation. When I'm talking about creating a foundation is you get done work, you make your dinner, you do whatever cleanup you have to do. You sit on the couch with your family. Whatever clothes you are wearing, I don't care if they're sweatpants. I don't care if they're technically night clothes. I want you to change your clothes. I want you to put on just bed clothes. Because think about what's happening. Again, as someone that teaches like working out and all that kind of stuff, right? Dancing, you're not wearing bed clothes when you go dance and work out. You're not wearing business clothes, right? So because you have to be in that mindset. When you get on stage, you're wearing this big blazer, right? I know that we all know your Spanx. Come on, we know which ones, right? This is who I am. Who are you when you go to sleep? What is that clothes? What is that transition? Start there.
That's so juicy. Like that is so, and but it's like, well, duh, that makes sense. That's so simple. But I've never heard anyone share that before of just like we talk about clothes, like what clothes make you feel confident? Like you said, right? It's the leggings, it's the blazer, you get to become, I think of obviously Beyonce goes into her, her alter ego. And we kind of do the same thing. We dressed for the situation, but I've never thought about that for bed. It's brilliant.
Right. And what you kept saying too is my biggest thing that I try to teach with my clients is simple. Yeah. These big ones where take the, no electronics and, do this in the morning and this like 50-minute meditation. Those are amazing. I'm not discrediting them in any kind of way. But again, going back to my biggest thing is I want you to have a foundation for when life happens, because life is going to happen. So what do you fall back on? When you and your husband get in your first big fight as you're married, it sits differently. And what you're going to do your routine differently, right? And so when you get that first big bump in your business and you're like, oh my God, your routine's going to go different. So what is your foundation?
It's so good. The foundation that so many of us overlook because we're all on Pinterest, like 20 ways to do X, Y, Z. And then we see like all these big things and we're like, I'm doing them all tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you do one and you're like, I'm done with this.
Yeah. We'll do that tomorrow.
Yes. I love the foundation. Can I also just say how much I appreciate you focus on the nighttime, because I don't even know why I asked you that question. Maybe it's because we needed to get to this point for people to hear that you need a nighttime routine. But I hate, and I shouldn't use that word, I apologize. Okay. I despise when hearing morning routines, because for so long, especially owning my own business, I thought something was wrong with me because everyone was like, get up at 5 a.m. You had to get up before everybody else. And, you have your coffee and you have 2 hours to do all your work so you're not disrupted. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. But I don't work best at 5 a.m. That's not my jam. And so I started thinking something was wrong with me, and it stressed me out even more because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't be successful if I don't wake up 2 hours before everybody else. And then that never happened. So then I just get in my head about it and I'm stressed.
Yeah.
So that makes so much sense.
And it's exactly what you just said too. It's meeting yourself where you're at, right? So when you create that foundation, it's meeting yourself where you're at. There's nothing wrong with being frustrated, annoyed, sad, crying, etc. Feelings are fine, right? It's meeting yourself where you're at. So if you're at that point of, oh my God, I can get up at 5 o'clock, go girl, more power to you. But if you are a 10 o'clock a.m. and that is your biggest hype time, which if you have ADHD, by the way, or, that's your biggest hype time, just saying, 2 cents there. Also related to stress, different story, different podcast. But if you're not a nighttime person, if you're not that there's nothing wrong with that. Your clients, your people that you're reaching to will want you there too. I'm going to be very honest. If you're a nighttime coach client person, I'm not your gal. I am useless after 7:30. I don't even know my own name. I'm just walking around as a zombie over here. I'm not that person. But if you want to meet early in the morning for that cup of coffee, let's get going. But I'm not the nighttime girl. I have never been. It's not this new 30s kick where you don't be up at night. No, I'm not the nighttime girl. I've never been the sleepover friend. It's not who I am. Nighttime. We do brunch, okay? We'll do brunch,
Noted. If I ever go on a retreat or something with Jessica, I have to know she's useless after 7:30.
So useless. I'm very useless. Yeah.
And once again, we're complete opposite, because I am definitely the person that's messaging my mentor at like 1 a.m. Like, hey, here's all this happening, because like that's my jam. I'm like up and ready to roll.
Yeah, and do you, girl, do you, but it won't be me. Won't be me.
It's all about that self-awareness, right? All about that self-awareness. So, okay, I feel like there's so many nuggets here, like so many things. I'm like, okay, now I get to change my clothes tonight, and now I get to do this. So with that being said, are you ready to jump into can we do some rapid fire fun questions?
Do it, girl. Let's do it.
All right. Let me see. Okay. If you besides the coffee, you can only choose one self-care thing to do every single day for the rest of your life. Okay, what is it?
Reading. I love reading.
What's your favorite thing to read?
As much as I'm a self-help person, I feel like self-help. I have a lot of self-help books, guys, but I am down for the thriller mysteries. Like, that's me. I will read that in like a day. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. What is on your For You page?
My For You page, like on like Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah. What do you see the most of?
What do I see the most of? I don't even know. I guess like I'll think about my personal one. I think it's a lot of ADHD like references. I think, yeah.
Interesting. Cool. Okay, so I don't do cheat meals around here, but you can only have one fun meal for the rest of your life. What do you choose?
Oh, mac and cheese.
Oh, where's your favorite place to get mac and cheese?
Oh, I make it homemade.
You make your own?
Yeah.
Oh man, I need to make a trip. I love mac and cheese so much. Oh man, that's so good. Now I want mac and cheese.
Before 7:30 though. It's only that.
Mac and cheese. Listen, if you got mac and cheese at 6, 7 a.m., I will be up. I will be ready to eat that mac and cheese. I'm for real. Oh, that's so good. Okay, 3 3 things that you would tell people to do right now if they are feeling stressed and overwhelmed.
Boom. Sounds super cheesy. Just take a breath. Take a breath. Take at least maybe 12-minute nap. It sounds, I know, hear me out, 12 minutes. And then eat a snack.
Ooh, I love these tips. Okay. 12. Okay. Can you quickly explain what 12-minute is? That like a special spot?
There's a special spot. So technically, if you set your alarm till 20 minutes, because by the time you actually fall asleep, but 12 minutes is like your whole REM sleep. So that's why it's 12 minutes. I have trained myself because I love naps that I could just do it without an alarm at this point, but that's a different story. But it's just like a little power nap, bing, bang, boom. It's just shutting my eyes. It's giving yourself to regroup. Obviously, if you need more, that's a different story. But when you're feeling that overwhelmed, when you give yourself that time, a lot of times we can solve problems when we are re-energized and when we have food in our mouth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but I should set, if I'm not trained yet, I set my alarm for 20 minutes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, do 20 minutes. And then again, you don't have to even fall asleep. If you want to, you can, but just give yourself that time to do whatever. If you fall asleep, great. If you don't, but there's no obligation. It's just rest in your eyes.
At any time of the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, naps and food. I knew we were meant to be best friends.
If you want more like detailed self-care, we can go into like the journal prompts, things like that. But I think like quick off the bat, if you're not already practicing a lot of things, or you just want that bing, bang, boom, those are it.
Yeah, no, I love the deep stuff is cool, but I think it's so often, again, with people that aren't working with you yet and haven't done a lot of the deep work yet, it's that quick right now, I'm stressed, overwhelmed today. What can I do? Help me out. Yes. And so we're all going to go take a nap and eat a snack. And I love it. And take a breath. So good. All right. Who is a powerful woman that has inspired you in your life?
So going back to my grandma and Miss Kathy. Yeah, those are definitely been just, we won't go into detail because I'll start crying, but they have just, when there's rocks in my life, there are rocks in my life. There has been not an ounce of judgment through everything I've been through in my life. And the biggest cheerleaders, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. They're my rocks. Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good. Okay. What's one movement exercise that you enjoy doing that makes you feel powerful?
I'm just starting to laugh because my first word came in my brain was squatting. Like I always do like a kettlebell squat, but I'm like, that's the right answer. I always stretch every day. I'll say I have a good, I like stretching. Like that's my everyday thing. I do a stretch in my gym. But yeah, I'm out and I do the treadmill and stuff too. So yeah, there's my things I do most days. Yeah.
Nice. All right. You can only watch one show for the rest of your life. Which one do you choose?
Oh, don't judge me. I'm horrible at watching TV. I'm that person when you put the TV on, I fall asleep. I'm so sorry. But I will say
on the question if you don't have an answer.
But I'll give you an answer. I will say that one thing I do have in the we watch Wheel of Fortune every night, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune every. So I will give you that answer. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
If there was one powerful piece of advice that you would leave for little girls in the world today, what would it be?
I think the biggest one is patience. I want to say believe in yourself and things like that, but that's all easier said than done. I think patience is the biggest key. I think we don't give ourselves enough patience when we want to do something or reach for something. I think we don't, and maybe that's trust too, but I think a lot of it's patience. We don't give ourselves enough patience when I'm going to reach this goal. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to study for this. I'm going to go to this class or whatever the case may be. I don't work out. I don't care what it is, but I don't think we give enough patience for reaching our goal.
Patience.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Okay. This one isn't fair because we've kind of already talked about this. But a daily consistent habit that helps you step more into your confidence and self-love.
So obviously, sitting with myself every day. What's another one? So, I'll spit out my morning routine. I wake up in the morning. I'm with my fiance in the morning. I pack up his clothes and things, his lunch. Sorry, that was weird. Pack up his lunch and stuff like that with him. We have like our morning talk. And then right away when he leaves, I do my morning affirmation behind the scenes, like the music sound. And then I go right into like a powerful podcast where it's like entrepreneur stuff and whatever time limit that is, 20, 25 minutes. That's all I have for cleaning. So I do that. Like, so it's Swift-ring counter sweat, like wiping. When it's done, it's done. Whatever it's not done, it's not done. I did my best. Right. Which is also a really good ADHD tip too. And then, then I go right into, I eat my breakfast, and then I have my cup of coffee, I read and journal. So, I mean, it's a little backwards, but it's pretty much the gist of it. Oh, I always start with a cup of water. So, I mean, that's my foundation of my morning. But I worked up to that. So I don't know if I really answered your question, but yeah.
Hey, we're going to take all the goodness that you want to share with us. We are taking it, we are soaking it up, and just going to be like, how can I be more like Jessica? So, okay, what does being, when you hear pretty powerful, like what does that mean to you?
I think the first word that comes to my brain is confident.
Nice.
Yeah. Because and when I think that, it's because, if you might want me to elaborate, it's because when I think pretty, that's you knowing you're pretty, right? Because it's not just somebody always telling you, because no matter what, it's receiving compliments, acknowledging that love and things like that. So there's confidence when it comes to, I'm pretty, I'm smart, I'm powerful. That's confidence. Like, because you have to, even if someone's telling you every day, you have to accept that kind of love. You have to acknowledge that kind of love in your life and then take it in. So I think it's confidence.
So good. All right. And last one. What is one song that makes you feel powerful?
What makes me powerful? I will say I'm a big country fan, so I'll put on some good country songs for me. I do a lot of older country, like 90s country.
Okay.
We're getting some deep personal stuff over here. There's a therapist on the other line just like writing me down. I would say some like strong woman from 90s country I'll put on. Yeah.
Nice. I love it. All right. So Jessica, you are so freaking amazing. I appreciate you so much. I learn something new from you every single time that we talk. Like, you are just a freaking gem. And again, because you take something that's so, I was about to say stressful, something so overwhelming and seems so hard and just seems so heavy, and you make it more fun. You make it easier. You make it more doable for just everyday humans that don't have that on their mind. So I just appreciate you and applaud you for everything that you do. You are like the definition of pretty powerful. I just freaking adore you. But before we go, we have to tell our friends, where do you hang out? Where can they find you? You have one-on-one coaching. If, you're incredible. So people can go find you there. Where do you want them to hang out with you? Is it Instagram? Tell us the deets.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I definitely have the one-on-one coaching. I would say I'm pretty active on Instagram, Journey to Yourself 101. But I'm on every other platform. I'm actually not on TikTok. I was going back and forth with that. So it's pretty much the only one I'm not on. So I will say, every platform I am on. The main one I probably say Journey to Yourself 101 on Instagram. And I have my podcast too, where you can find Danielle on there at Stress Less with me, Jess.
And it's so good. So go find her, do all the things, click the buttons, follow, subscribe, get all her good stuff. Use the journal prompts every morning, most mornings that she shares them on Instagram. They're so good. And with that, Jessica, are there any last words maybe that we didn't get to chat about or whatever, or inspiration that you want to leave for our friends listening before we say goodbye?
I think the biggest thing is it's one day at a time. It literally is. It sounds so cheesy, but it's one day at a time. If you didn't complete it today, you got tomorrow. It's just today. We're just do today. That's it.
Just do today. And when today feels a little too much, we take a breath, we take a nap, and we have a snack.
A snack.
I love it. Thank you, Jessica. You're amazing. Everyone's going to be so just blessed to hear this episode, and I'm just so grateful for you. So thank you for being you, and I'll talk to you soon.
I'll remind you at the end of every single episode, you do not owe the world pretty, but you do owe yourself to step into your personal power, because you, my friend, are a powerhouse woman. Go out and prove it to yourself.